episode originally uploaded on September 23rd, 2024, like 2 freaking years ago. The full season is out on Spotify or wherever you plopping pod, baby. Love you, Whitney. Pretend that was orange juice, okay? Bye.
It's Lucky's really long list of movies. Oh, hell yes. This week's movie brings it all. All you could ever want in a romance. I'm talking powerhouse vocals, 80s hair, explosions, multiple large glasses of orange juice. This movie has it all. This week. This week, we're talking about The Bodyguard. Okay, so this week was a first, as is most episodes of mine in my very first season of my very first podcast. So this week, it was the first time I picked a movie for the lineup, did my poster predictions, curled my hair, watched it, recorded my reactions, and decided to swap it out for a new movie. Okay, so what happened was I watched The Notebook, and I was not eager or excited to talk about it at all. I know. It's one of the most spoken about and referenced romance movies of all time, and I just had to drop it. And ever since I dropped it, every single goddamn day, I am seeing a reference to The Notebook. I'll hear it in podcasts, conversations, music, other movies. And even right now in New York, they're producing a new Notebook musical, which I'm sure is going to be great. I don't really have anything against The Notebook, except, all that ignored but shown racism. Like, I don't know what the goal was in that, because they laid it on thick, but then they just didn't talk about it. And then they romanticized this, plantation house that looked way too old to be that old, in the 40s and 50s. The plantation house that they showed in the movie, that's what plantation houses or abandoned plantation houses look like now. The ones that aren't abandoned are kept up to date in pristine, original condition so white people can have their dumb little weddings there. Stop doing that. It's fucking weird. Oh, and by the way, I did look it up, and the house was aged in the movie. They used CGI to make it look older. I don't think that they were trying to make racism look older than it was, or slavery look older than it was, but it was just, in the year of 2024, it was just too distracting and too cringy and weird. And Allie, I think that was her name. She kept putting her hands on that boy, and that was lame as hell and not cute or harmless. I did not like that. I just didn't have it in me to talk about The Notebook for more than 5 minutes. Literally all I just told you was everything I guess I wanted to say. And that's it. And there wasn't too much to write home about when it came to behind the scenes and stuff. Well, actually, Britney Spears was a frontrunner for Allie, That would have been fucking crazy. I think she would have done a really good job too. But anyway, having Britney as the lead still doesn't change anything. That made me not interested in talking about the movie. So, yeah, The Notebook was really predictable. It was cheesy, and I'm probably never going to watch it again. But then I got excited, and I was like, oh boy, that means I get to pick another movie. And it's the last movie of the lineup, and I can pick whatever I want. And I did. So, of course, I had to choose The Bodyguard, starring the one and literally the only Whitney Houston. I thought, if I ended up feeling the way I did after The Notebook, you know what? If there's nothing to write home about The Bodyguard, then I will literally just do a biography episode on Whitney Houston. The Bodyguard. This movie was a lot. The behind-the-scenes information was juicy. And then you add Whitney Houston into the mix. I got a lot to talk about, y'all. And I've been singing these damn songs all week. I probably can't sing them for licensing and talent reasons. But literally, like, the earworm that I've had all week up to this point is, let me see if I can do it. This is what's been running through my brain. Don't make me clap. And then, don't sue me. You know what song I'm singing? You just know. Ugh. I also apologize. It is hot. I'm not allowed to have caffeine yet. I am allowed to have my medication. So I'm medicated hardcore right now without caffeine. So that actually makes me a little weirder, but at a pace that I can keep up with body, mind, and soul. Did that make any sense? I have an Aquarius moon. Does that mean anything? Oh my fucking God. Anyway, whatever. Maybe I'll do a Whitney Houston biography episode later. Maybe I'll start my singing career later, but not today. Let's get into it. Okay, here we go with the 1 minute recap. See if I can fucking do it this time. Wasn't able to do it last time. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it this time either. So, let's see if I surprise myself. All right. And we are starting the timer. Now, I didn't mean to scream. So there's a super tight named Rachel, played by Whitney Houston. Then there's an ex-Secret Service guy named Frank, played by Kevin Costner. While Rachel is under attack by a stalker that she has no idea about, Rachel begs Frank to protect her and Rachel and her cute little boy. And Frank reluctantly agrees after meeting the idol, learning that she's a bit of a diva. I didn't think she was being a diva. She was an angel that had no idea that her life was in danger. What the hell? So whatever, Frank protects her and he's being so cautious, and Rachel is a bit disturbed by all the new changes, so she starts to rebel, but then Frank saves her from a rough and tumble crowd adorned with leather and hairspray. Rachel and Frank have an affair after Frank shows off some samurai sword tricks, the only way to any woman's heart. Then the next day Frank is like, I can't do this is super unprofesh. This upsets Rachel and she starts a relationship, and so the relationship is a bit rocky. Rachel ends up trying to make Frank jealous by going out with his old colleague who was a worm and actually tries to kill her later. A lot of other explosions and shit happen. Then Frank takes a bullet for Rachel at the Oscars, but it's okay because he gets a sling. Then Rachel and Frank have a Casablanca moment, and then they leave each other forever, and then Frank babysits a priest. I did it. I left out a lot, and a lot of that did not make sense, but I did it. Please don't cheer for me. Don't cheer for me. Come on, I'm just doing my job. It's just my job. Stop. If you can believe in yourself, anything is possible. Please, please. Okay, I have a feeling.
Just had a brief intermission.
Holy shit, that scared the fucks out of me. Ugh, and I've been trying to curse less. My phone was playing a video of me, and I could, whoa. Did not need that shot of adrenaline. Woo, that was creepy. All right, anyway, what I was going to say before I interrupted myself, I know a lot of people are going to hate the 1 minute recap. I know they're going to fucking hate it. It's chaotic. It's jumbled up. I'm just yelling and screaming nonsense. And that's exactly why I'm keeping it, because I like that. Anyway, on to my first take of The Bodyguard. As you can... Yep. Oop, there I go again. Interrupted. I'm just so eager to talk. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play my first take for you. Here we go. I'm going to do the same high-tech thing I did last time. You ready? First take. I'm doing it on the phone again because my mic isn't hooked up. We're living really fast and loose here, okay? I'm I'm 2 movies deep in this one episode. Do you understand the stress that puts on my schedule? Loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. I love Whitney Houston. I love everything about this movie. I was not expecting all of that music to be in there. I thought maybe she sung like I Will Always Love You at the end during the credits, kind of like a Celine Dion from the Titanic. You don't hear her sing until the credits. And that's what I thought that song was in relation to this movie. I thought maybe the Rachel from the movie had music specific for her universe, but no, we had Whitney Houston music. So what came first? This movie or all of these songs?
because sometimes you think it's one way when really it's the other. See, I have so many questions, and I will say, the writing for Rachel lacked a little bit in comparison to all of the writing that took place for Kevin Costner's character. Like literally all that security stuff. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, like why is it so easy to get into the gate? Where are the cameras? Why are we talking about security detail in front of a room full of people? Like, that was good. But the writing for Rachel, I think it lacked like a little bit, but you know, Whitney brought it. And I heard there's some fan theories that Kevin Costner's actually in love with Whitney Houston. I don't know if that's true or if that's just what we want to be true. Whitney looked great. Kevin Costner looked great. Oh my God, everything Whitney wore was great. All of her turtlenecks, the athleisure, the crystals, the outfit, the trench coat scarf situation she had. She stopped an airplane. Yeah, wow, loved it so much. Cannot wait to watch it again. I'm probably gonna have to buy it now. Okay, time to do research. Woo!
Yay! All right, so yeah, that was my first take. I did watch the movie maybe about like 2 more times, and it was almost like a different movie every time I watched it because there's just so much to take in. Like when I first watched it, I didn't realize there was 2 guys after her. I thought it was just Porter, like the bodyguard's friend, old coworker. Like I thought it was him the whole time. Because at the beginning of the movie, you can hear them have a conversation, like Frank and then Rachel's manager, like he's coming over to Frank's house and he's like, please, you got to protect this superstar. And then Frank is like, but I don't do celebrities. And Frank is like, why don't you ask somebody else? And then the manager is like, yeah, Porter was interested, but they're not you. But no, there was a stalker who was like jacking off everywhere. And then the sister hired a hitman somehow. And the writing for the women, I don't know, it just wasn't as I guess I still agree. It wasn't like as strong as what was written for Frank, but what they do in the movies or in this movie is I guess not weak because Rachel's really spiteful and she keeps like pushing the rules, bending the limits, bending the rules and pushing the limits. Oh my God, I need caffeine. Anyway, so I really like this movie. I really like it. And I like Rachel and I like Farmer. In The Notebook, I didn't like either one of them. But I like Rachel and I like Farmer. But my favorite person in the entire movie, my favorite person is Tony. A lot of Tonys this month, but this is the top tier Tony right here. He was my absolute favorite. I think every freaking thing that he does in this movie is just like the best. And we'll get into that coming up. Now, okay, so I know I've been telling you a lot that I love this movie. I love Whitney Houston. Kevin Costner's character had like all these interesting things. And then, you know, Tony, hello. Of course, there's a lot that I love about this movie. But this movie was received both ways. Like, it was a really good movie because it's just got movie shit. It's got explosions. It's got a pop star. It's got actually a worldwide megastar, Whitney Houston, pop star. And and you know, there's action, there's romance, there's costuming, there's giant mansions. Like, it has everything that it needs to be entertaining. There was not a part of this movie that was boring to me. Not a part. It was almost 2 hours long. Didn't even feel like it. And I kept watching it again and again. And is that my son? Oh, there he is. Don't do that. Please, don't do that. No, you can't. What? Why there? No! He's gonna knock that over, isn't he? Oh, he actually scooched it back onto the shelf. Oh, God, I know what that is. Hold on, it's a jar full of hair dye. Hold on. Whoa. Anyway, I'm so sorry for the quality of this episode. This episode is a little cantankerous. So anyway, this movie. While I was watching this movie, I was like, this movie could be a classic or it could be a B movie. It's almost both, honestly, which makes it an absolute American treasure, no matter how you look at it. It was better than The Notebook, I will tell you that. And that movie is held in such high regard. All right. So anyway, for starters, with talking about what an American treasure this movie is, what the hell was with all of the orange juice? How are we not still talking about the 4 or 5 glass, which is it? If you watch this movie, if you made it into a drinking game, and if you took a sip or if you took a little hit, whatever your vice is, whatever, like if you partook in your vice, every single time there was a glass of orange juice on screen, you would be 3 sheets to the wind halfway through the movie. This man is always drinking orange juice. He asks for it on the movie, on like the little music video set. He's drinking it while he's cutting into an apple and has that weird fight with Tony. He's drinking a tall, fat glass of it while Whitney Houston is playing with the samurai sword. He always has orange juice. Like, seriously, those orange juice glasses, those tall, transparent glasses of orange juice, because they want us to know he's drinking orange juice all the time. Like, that orange juice almost got more screen time than Whitney Houston. Why does no one ask this man about the tall, fat glasses of orange juice that he cannot stop drinking? And it's also just like, isn't that a lot of acidity? Wouldn't your teeth fall out? Yeah, wouldn't your teeth fall out? It's a lot of acidity. I don't know if you're supposed to be drinking. I'm not a doctor. He probably does it because watch orange juice be some kind of like magic juice for Secret Service people that it has like all the vitamins, and so they drink it all the time to make sure that their like immune system is like on tip-top shape. Vitamin C, E, whatever. Is that why? Because he's going to need a lot more than that orange juice, and that's so much orange juice. And I'm just like, are there any repercussions of drinking that much orange juice? Is Mythbusters still on the air? Can someone put their body at risk on Mythbusters and see if orange juice will burn a hole through your stomach? I don't know. But I'm not going to lie. It tickled me that they showed a glass of orange juice. Okay, there's this part in the movie where there's this glass of orange juice, and you're like, here we go again with this goddamn OJ. This GDOJ. So you see this glass of orange juice, but then like someone is like pouring booze into the glass of orange juice just to prove that Frank Farmer was like caught up in his super dark feelings. Like, ooh, things are serious now. Don't talk to Frank if you see him drinking a big ass glass of orange juice. You don't know if it's half cut with vodka or a can of whoop ass. Yeah, and he was drinking. I was wondering if he was drinking a glass of orange juice when Tony came in after the concert that went awry, which I also have another very... I love Tony so much. Okay, so anyway, so Frank Farmer's like drinking this glass of orange juice in the kitchen after that fight or after that concert, and he's like cutting apart an apple and eating it. And then he has this really long, like Frank Farmer has this really long nonverbal fight with Tony, the bodyguard or the head of security, which, by the way, the nonverbal fight, really funny and super entertaining. And it's up there with one of my favorite parts of the movie. And I just loved how Tony could not give up. He just could not give up easily. He just kept reviving himself. He kept adding more quarters to the machine for 2 more lives. And then at the end of the fight, like Frank Farmer is like, I never want to talk about this again. Such a fun moment of the movie. But another favorite part of mine, this is probably my all-time favorite part of the movie, and it's Tony, right? So, gosh, I'm all over the place with this episode, and I'm so sorry. I'm actually drinking my caffeine as we speak. Matcha latte. I know. I'm one of those. So, the concert, right? The concert at the club where Whitney is wearing the metal bodysuit and stuff. Whitney's there. She's on stage. Frank Farmer is being Frank, and he's like worrying. And then all of these like rough and tumbled people, literally like with leather jackets and everything, they just are looking menacing. Fights are breaking out. Rachel is being tossed around by the crowd. Frank Farmer picks her up, princess hold, like carrying her like a princess. She wraps her arms around his neck, and that's the shot from the poster, I think. Even though in the poster, I swear to God, they're walking through like knee-deep water. I don't know. So he's carrying her through the crowd, and then he even like, while he's carrying her, he kicks that stalker guy in the face. Like just a quick little kapow, just like kicks that man in the face. I didn't even know that was him when I first saw it. And I watched the movie again and I'm like, oh my God, it's the masturbating stalker. He just got kicked in the face. So Frank is carrying her out of the venue. He tells his assistant, who is like also the chauffeur, he's like, get the car at the entrance we talked about, and I'm going to bring her out there. So the guy gets the car. Frank carries her out to the limo, and they jump in and they leave behind Tony and the PR guy. So Frank told the driver to park at a different area to take Rachel. So Tony thought the car was parked in a different spot, maybe like a usual spot, or maybe where the car was, where he last saw the car. But you just see Tony leaving the venue, right? He's leaving the venue, and there's like crowds of people all over the place because they're like, Rachel, Rachel. They're at every exit, crowds of people at the exits. There are crowds of people at the entrances. There's crowds of people just like all around the venue. And so then Tony is like making his way through the crowd, but he's also just knocking people out. He's like punching his way through the crowd, knocking people out, pushing them over, just like beating the shit out of people. Kind of the way that people hack through jungles with like machetes. So he was doing that. He was punching people, bashing their heads together, pushing them out of the way, only to break through the crowd to see that the car wasn't even there. It's really, really funny. Then he goes back to the house and has that silent fight with Frank. But also, Tony had an arc. Like he had his own little story. So he starts off, he's like head of security, loves Rachel literally to death. Like he is also someone else that is willing to put his life on the line for her. Tony also loves Rachel and protects her as if she was family, as if she was like his little sister. You know what I mean? And I love that. But he's also bullheaded. And when Frank comes onto the scene, you know, it's like alpha male battle that they're having. Like, no, I'm in charge. No, I'm in charge. I protect her. No, I protect her. But then Tony comes around to Frank. And by the end of the movie, Tony realizes that Frank is to be trusted, followed, understood, and maybe even learned from. And so they end up working together by the end. He almost died a couple times, but Tony came around. Love that guy. Oh, okay. So moving on to other like little funny favorite weird little bits about the movie that I just thought were like peculiar and weird. I was kind of taken aback with the massive doll collection in Rachel's room. Also, her bedroom is very lackluster compared to the rest of the house. Like there was no real decoration in that room. And in that room, there's just like a lot of dolls, like pools and pools of dolls in the bed that are all propped up on the pillows. Then there is like a display case that is packed to the brim with dolls. And just so y'all know, that is what my evil grandmother's house looked like. Yeah, I said evil. But had a house, wall to wall, display case after display case of just porcelain dolls and angels. You want to talk about irony? So I always associate droves of dolls, mainly like antique porcelain dolls, as insidious. I know I'm not the only one because these types of dolls are also like stars of like horror movies and ghosts. But anyway, I'm wondering if these dolls are supposed to show Rachel's like defenselessness or her innocence or something. Rachel isn't really an innocent type. I think she would honestly fight or kill someone if she needed to. I think she would. Somebody coming after her son, I think she would do what Bjork did. Have y'all seen that video? We are all over the place today. And I think that's what Rachel would have done. So I don't really see her as like innocent. I mean, she's innocent in regards to being a human. Like all she is doing is just living her life. Yeah, she's that innocent, but she's not like defenseless. Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's what the dolls were trying to represent or if they're trying to represent anything at all. And then there's like another part of me that's like, did the writer or director or set director just like assume that is what like a woman's bedroom looks like? Or maybe it wasn't her bedroom. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait. No, it was not her bedroom. That's not technically her bedroom. No, that wasn't her bedroom because they say that she doesn't sleep in like that bedroom that was jacked off in. She doesn't sleep in that bedroom. She sleeps into a bedroom that's like next to Fletcher, like his bedroom. Yeah, so it wasn't her bedroom because her bedroom was like targeted earlier. But she doesn't know that. But she's a mom and she probably just wants to sleep next to Fletcher. Or like be like really close to him. I would. If I was in a big old house, I'd want my kids to be near me so I can hear them. Anyway, so Rachel has a creepy doll room in her house. And no one is to ask questions about Frank's orange juice or Rachel's dolls, okay? They're just going to be in the movie and we're all just going to have to accept it. Okay, he's going to drink a lot of orange juice and she sleeps with a lot of eyes looking at her. We're just going to accept it, okay? Moving on. Another crazy ass moment is when Frank just starts to beat the crap out of a kitchen employee who was on break. So Frank is like all pissy because he can't find Rachel, right? Like I think, right? Like she like goes out shopping, he can't find her. It freaks him out. So he's like all pissy. He's like walking through this like hotel establishment. Who knows when the last time he had a glass of orange juice? Maybe the orange juice keeps him from going crazy. I don't know. But anyway, so he's walking through this kitchen, Frank. He asks a question to this employee or to this man who is in the kitchen. He's sitting on a milk crate. He's smoking a cigarette, which to me tells me this man either just got off work or he's on break, you know? So Frank is like asking him questions randomly, like asking him where like a certain guy is. And the dude sitting on the milk crate was like, go fuck yourself, to like one of Frank's questions. And then Frank just starts beating the shit out of this guy, like beating the absolute brakes off of this guy. The guy hardly fought back. Like Frank started it. The guy stood up, but Frank started it. Frank started the violence. And the guy maybe tried to fight back like a little bit, but the guy didn't deserve it. Frank, I know your job is stressful, but you don't know what that guy's day was like. And he was already on break or he was off or something, smoking a cigarette in the kitchen. And that is just a universal sign of I'm tired, you know? Oh God, even the guy's wife, the guy that's getting beat up, even the guy's wife comes out and is like, please, no, not my husband. What are you doing? Which is like a nightmare, monster behavior. Anyway, okay, we are still continuing to jump all over the place here. And whatever, we're going to have to just embrace it now. We're going to have to embrace the orange juice. We're going to have to embrace the dolls. We're going to have to embrace people getting beat up on their smoking breaks. We're going to have to deal with me. I wish I had a prize for y'all, but I don't. Sorry, love you. Mwah. Gosh, what else? Oh my God. The samurai sword, scarf, riz, or whatever the kids are saying. The samurai sword, scarf. What would you do in that moment? I'm still trying to grasp letting someone you are paid to protect play with something that is that sharp. So Rachel and Frank. They are in Frank's basement. Red flag. Rachel finds the samurai sword. Pretty standard when it comes to an American man's house. They love samurai swords. These swords are, they're also like collector's items, no hate. Then Rachel, she takes the sword out of its like sheath or whatever. I've done that. I've gone to a guy's house, seen the samurai sword and be like, can I touch it? And, I'll take it out of the sheath, whatever, little sword case. But it's usually like a replica of a sword or like a really, really dull sword, which makes me feel really, really safe. Because I'm like, oh, it's collector. It's a decoration. There's, it's not a weapon. So she takes out this sword. She points it at Frank. Frank starts to walk into the sword. Fine. You're the professional here. But then he takes off her scarf. Ooh, almost like a little burlesque move, just like takes off the scarf, and it slides off her neck while they are making steamy basement eye contact. And then he's like, literally, watch this. Then he throws the scarf in the air. And while the scarf was like floating in midair, I thought that he did this like as a distraction to make her look up at the scarf. And like while she's looking up, he would like swoop in, grab the sword from her while pulling her in close. No, that's not what he was doing. Instead, they both just watch the scarf fall on the sword, and the scarf splits in two. I don't know how that would make me feel. I'd probably flip out internally and try to leave ASAP. You let me touch that? You let me touch that weapon of destruction? And you walked into it? And you let me point it at you? And my scarf! Dude, what's next? Are you gonna shoot up my purse to prove how well your guns work? Guns that he lets anyone play with, by the way. Thankfully, Rachel was into it, and then they screw, right? I hope it was worth the scarf and the conversation that follows the next morning. That's when he was like, I can't do this. This is unprofessional. It's like, sir, I think we are way past the point of that. So Frank Farmer, in general, is wild. He orchestrates all the wild moments of this movie, the explosions, the machismo fight scenes that I loved. Don't get it twisted. I did love that shit. Him closing his eyes to shoot guns. His fucking attitude. If anything, his tude was bigger than Rachel's tude. Just saying. And Rachel, she brought the glam, the fun, the love, the life of the movie, right? She was the complete opposite of Frank. But they were drawn to each other. But they don't fucking end up together. I don't know why their relationship wouldn't, why wouldn't their relationship work? Like, I'm sure if someone sat me down and explained it, I would be like, okay, yeah, I'm sure that probably would cause some issues and she's got a kid, but y'all aren't even gonna give it like a 3-month try. You're not gonna try it. You're not gonna try to make it work. Would he be like too overbearing of her, or would she like be too worried about him all the time when he goes out to protect other people and jump in front of more bullets? Like, yeah, I think that they should have given it like a shot, Woo! All right, I want to talk about Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner now. Okay, so I know about the Bodyguard movie because of the big question. Is Kevin Costner actually in love with Whitney Houston? Like, for real? Dude, yeah, I think so. Just throwing that out there. It is at least safe to say that he adores her. I was watching a recent interview of his, like recent. He was being interviewed because Yellowstone came out. I don't know anything about Yellowstone. And even after watching the interview, I still don't know anything about Yellowstone because the host of the interview, or one of the hosts, Michael Strahan, mentioned that The Bodyguard is one of his favorite movies. And Strahan started to ask about Whitney Houston. Like, what was it like to work with her, know her, And the look in Kevin Costner's eyes when Whitney Houston's name was brought into the conversation, his eyes were like, oh my God, what a gift it is to have memories about such a magnificent woman. And it is a joy to remember and retell. How lucky am I that I get to be the one to remember her and talk about her and be asked about her. How lucky am I? That's what his eyes were screaming at me. It was specific. He loved her. He said it. Oh my God. And his eulogy to her made me fucking cry. And also gave me some behind the scenes details that were very cute and precious. And during the movie, Costner took care of Whitney Houston, and it seemed like she really trusted him. Costner had a lot of say in the movie and a lot of say in making the movie. He was a producer. So let's chat a little bit about the birth of this movie and all that makes it iconic, right? So the movie came out in 1992. But the script was written around 1975. 1975 by Lawrence Kasdan. Kasdan has written and helped write works like, what was it called? It's really not that well known. I'd be really surprised if you've ever heard of it. I wonder if I'm going to pronounce it right. Okay, so Kasdan helped write Star Wars, I think is how you pronounce it. He wrote The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens. He also helped write Riders of the Lost Ark and a lot of other favorite unknown movies. But The Bodyguard was his very first script he ever wrote. Kasdan had this script, obviously, for a while, and a young, small-time actor named Kevin Costner read the script. He loved it, and he told Kasdan that he would make something of this one day. I'll come back for you, Kasdan. I'll come back for you and your script. Kasdan tried to get The Bodyguard picked up with his eye on Diana Ross and Steve McQueen, but the script was actually rejected 67 times. 67. You want to talk about how showbiz is a tough business because it forces you to accept rejection over and over again, and your dreams are just constantly getting crushed, and you're tired and hungry all the fucking time, but then you're like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I want to be a part of this? And then you just keep going even though your body and your family is screaming at you to stop. Get a real job. Wait, what was I talking about? 67 times. Okay, so can you imagine getting rejected 67 times? Like, what is it like to submit something for the 30th time? What did that 50th no feel like? Was it tougher than the 4th no? And why stop at 67? Hell, pitch it again. Pitch it again now, even though the movie has been made. 67 times? It's a tradition now, honey. You gotta keep going. We're gonna be doing this annually. Let's go. Well, Kasdan stopped pushing the script and moved on to that movie Star Wars. But then Kevin Costner went from being a small-time actor to a big Hollywood hotshot. So Kevin comes back to the script and Kasdan and gets production going. Kevin and his other co-producers are trying to figure out who to cast as Rachel. Who is going to be the superstar of this movie, right? Who's going to be this powerhouse singer that is rocking the world and that is almost getting killed at every cost? Diana Ross, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, Britney Spears. No, Britney Spears was like 10. But Kevin wanted Whitney. He said he wanted the most beautiful woman in the world, and he wanted Whitney Houston. He thought she was as beautiful as a woman could be. And she has this incredible voice that could literally make you believe in God. And she could also bring the right energy to Rachel's diva moments. But Whitney was hard to book because she's Whitney Houston in 1992. I'm trying not to cuss anymore. Whatever. So in 1992, Whitney Houston, she just had a baby. She's prepping to get married to Bobby Brown, and she's on a world tour. So Kevin said, we'll wait. And I'm sure all of his production teams and companies were shitting a brick. Remember how Coppola was treated for being slow on decisions? And Brando was basically blacklisted for taking too long on a movie? Well, he also spent like a lot of money, and it was a flop. There's a whole, but still, we know in this business, not only is rejection a thing, but you're gonna hear time is money. Time is money. You're gonna hear that all the time. So asking a production company to wait a year is quite the ask. Well, Costner was working with 2 production companies that are not really one of the big production corporations we've been talking about this season. The companies he was working with was TIG Productions and Kazdan Productions. And I hope they're as chill as they sound. I don't think they're that chill, and you'll find out in literally 2 seconds. But I do want to say that I'm happy that they waited for Whitney Houston. And speaking of casting, this is where I think they're not that chill. And speaking of casting, there was hesitation on casting Whitney Houston because production, not Costner, was wondering if a white singer would be a better lead for the public to accept. Because Costner is white? And Whitney Houston is black? Are we really going to introduce an interracial couple to the public of 1992 and not even talk about it in the script? Kevin Costner was literally like, all right, everybody, I'm aware Whitney Houston is black and I'm white. Doesn't change the fact that she's the one. So... And even after the movie was made and Costner and Houston were on a press tour, they got asked so many times by mainly white reporters from all over the world about Houston and Costner's opinion on the interracial relationship and how the fact that the script doesn't talk about it. And they both were like, it's not a problem and it's not really the plot. Yeah, they're just 2 people in love surrounded by orange juice and explosions. So Whitney is cast in her movie debut as Rachel. And Whitney is super nervous about this. She doesn't think she's good enough. And she lets Kevin Costner know that she is really afraid of looking stupid or silly. And I do just want to say, Whitney, you are beautiful in this movie. And if anything, you are what makes this movie incredibly iconic. The movie is a little stupid and silly at times, but that's not your character. That's Kevin's character. And Tony. Whitney even asked if she should take acting lessons before shooting. Oh, by the way, she did have to do a screen test. She wasn't just handed this role. So she asks if she should look into acting lessons before filming. And the director was like, please, God, no. You're perfect the way you are. If you take lessons, you'll have to work twice as hard to unlearn all the crap you just learned to nail this part. Which, couldn't agree more. So Whitney shows up and she's ready to work. It's the first day of filming, right? She shows up on set. She's ready to work. It's the first day of filming. But 20 minutes into the shoot, right? 20 minutes after they yell action, the director had to call cut, and Costner had to take Whitney to the side and talk to her about her makeup. Apparently, Whitney preferred the makeup she would wear during her music videos. She just wanted to look her best, you know? But this was early 90s/1980s music video makeup. So it was thick and heavy, and it melted within 20 minutes of filming under the lights. And so she has like all these streaks down her face. Costner was giving her a pep talk while she was wiping away all of the streaks and all of the makeup. And he was reassuring her that she was the right one for the role, she belongs there, and that nobody saw the makeup flop. And Whitney also shared cute little behind-the-scene memories too. She said that Kevin and her had a lot in common, and Kevin really helped her with her acting and her scenes. She also said that Kevin had a real appreciation and a good ear for music, and that he was actually singing and humming all the time. Could you imagine singing and humming around Whitney Houston? I would be too afraid of offending her. So Whitney said that he helps her with the acting, and she helps him with the singing. Really fucking cute. So Whitney doesn't really give a lovey-dovey romantic energy when talking about Kevin, but that's probably because her fiance, Bobby Brown, was watching during all of these interviews around that time. And look, I don't know much about Bobby Brown. I know some of his music. I have seen a lot of parodies about their relationship, some strange reality TV edits from like a Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown show, I think. And I've heard the jokes. But I'm not sure if I like him, to be honest. I don't know. I get a weird vibe from him, like, oh, if I actually look into this, I'm going to get really disturbed or sad, or maybe I'm like misjudging him completely. But I didn't have time to look into him and their relationship because it seems like it's a lot. It has like really heavy themes maybe that are not truly related to this side of the story when it comes to the Bodyguard, because I just want to focus on like Whitney and Kevin, but I do know that there is a lot with Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. They were under quite the microscope. So I know Bobby Brown, I know he was like a bit jealous, and Whitney calls him possessive in interviews in regards to his reaction to the kissing and sex scenes from the Bodyguard, which there was no sex, and the kissing was like just like two faces pressed into one another, respectfully. And, and there's like choreography and guidelines laid down before anything else is like laid down. You know what I mean? God, what are these jokes today? My energy's off. I'm hot. God, thank you for sticking in with me today. Thank you. What? Am I okay? Oh my God, the charity work for my listeners. Oh God, listening to this podcast must be charity work at this time. So just go ahead and write me off on your taxes, and I hope the country pays you heavily for listening to this. Thank you. Oh, and another thing I want to say about Whitney and her personal life, I think it's a real shame and a loss when people only focus on Whitney's addiction issues. I know. I'm going to make this real quick. I just want to say that Whitney Houston is larger than life, and her soul was like contained somehow within a human body. And yeah, she had an addiction, but she was not addiction. She was Whitney fucking Houston, and she tried her fucking best. And her best was legendary and unrepeatable. I mean, Kevin Costner even says that people don't even try to sing her songs. Like her peers don't try to sing or cover her songs. Today, if you're hearing people sing her songs, those people are like the little girls and little kids who wanted to grow up and be like Whitney Houston. And now those little kids are my age, and it warms my freaking heart to see these little ones grow up and nail these Houston notes. That's Whitney Houston's legacy. You know she would be front row cheering these little babies on. So anytime I see anyone try to minimize Whitney and her purpose and gifts by shrinking Whitney's definition down to her addiction, you suck ass. Stop sucking ass and give Miss Houston her flowers, please. So back to Kevin and Whitney's friendship, the making of the movie, and music. Speaking of music, you want to talk about I Will Always Love You? That song hit so hard. It was so good. Whitney did such a good job. But Kevin Costner had a lot of ideas for this song, and he's even the one that chose this song. So if you don't know, that song is a country song, I think from the 60s or 70s. But it's a country song written by another deity, Dolly Parton. And if you didn't know that, I am so freaking honored that I'm the one who gets to tell ya. Yeah, the I Will Always Love You song, made absolutely worldwide known by Whitney Houston, is written and originally performed by Dolly Parton. And they're both really sweet sounding little versions. They're very different, but Dolly Parton's is like really sweet and intimate sounding, and Whitney's starts off like that and then it just swallows you whole. So this song makes its first appearance in the movie at a honky-tonk with a country singer, and Rachel and Frank are talking about how pathetically sad it is, only for it to be the song that predicts their future sentiments. So, you know how the song starts a cappella, with Whitney Houston just like singing a cappella? That was Kevin Costner's idea. he even argued with David Foster about it. Who is David Foster? Well, he is number 4 on the list of people I never want to meet because the vibes are icky. Sorry, David. So, David Foster is responsible for a lot of ballads. He's like won over 16 Grammys, and he's been nominated 47 times for doing his job so well. He's got the formula down. If you want an example of one of his songs or one of his works, he's the one responsible for All By Myself. Wow, you are being gifted by my pipes today, babies. Yeah, so that song sung by Celine Dion, yeah, that's one of his. And his dating and marriage patterns are a bit concerning. You know, looking at them as a woman, I'm just like, what is your problem? Because he just gives the vibes and the track record of divorcing women once they get to a certain age just to marry another young woman. And speaking of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I am so glad that Erica got pissed drunk and sung over his piano playing at Yolanda's get-together. Like, let her sing, dude. You invite people over, you give them drinks, then you want to play songs, but you want to be the only one that sings? Shut up. Anyway, so Costner tells Foster that the start needs to be a cappella. And Foster is also a man that is like stuck up his own ass. I will say that. He is like shoved so far up there that he has somehow popped out the other side. I don't know. I also don't like hearing him talk about music because it just always boils down to money. Remember when it was embarrassing to talk like that? Whatever. So Foster is being all stubborn about it because he acts like he knows everything. But Kevin Costner wins because it's a great freaking idea. So speaking of the music in this movie, I had no idea that all of these songs came from this movie. Like, the movie came first. The movie came first. Then they put all of these songs on there. Yeah, and the soundtrack of this song is one of the best-selling soundtracks of all time. 50 million copies. And you think it's a big deal here in America? Overseas? Holy smokes. It exploded. And it's also still a major hit over there. It's still a major hit over here and over there and over here. This side of the world and that side of the world. 2 halves make a globe. It is still a major hit all around the world. Insane. And thank you, Kevin Costner, and thank you, Whitney. So do I think Kevin Costner's in love with Whitney? Yeah, I do. Do I think Whitney Houston was in love with Kevin Costner? No, I think she had a lot of love for him, and I think he made her feel safe and respected her as a professional. First, he respects her as a friend, as a professional, and then as a crush. I just feel like he's like, I need her to be free. And he did, and he lets her be free. I think their work together on The Bodyguard is great. I love hearing about their behind-the-scenes relationship. I like hearing and seeing clips of them like joking around, talking about songs, and seeing her being bright and bubbly around him, and he's just like lit up around her, and he's really relaxed. She's really relaxed. And they just had like a really great friendship, and I think friendship is so important. I know we all get wrapped up in the romance of it all, but friendship is so underrated. Man. Let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. I think my brain has actually hit its boiling point. So yeah, in conclusion, it was crazy to watch this movie, first of all. And I already knew all the words to the songs. So that was kind of cool. Also in conclusion, this is all in conclusion. I'm really bad at conclusions. But I do just want to say that when I was learning about this movie and I was learning about Whitney and Kevin and how this movie was made and how Kevin was like being a nice guy, like for real, and Whitney was trying her best as well and trying a new experience and just learning about like Whitney Houston and how she can connect with people so well. Like, just like seeing all that, it just like almost made me wish that somebody would make a movie based on the theory surrounding the Whitney Kevin Bodyguard situation. It doesn't have to be based completely off of it. I just like, there's a whole story behind this movie. Like the whole, are they in love? Will she go on to marry her fiance? She's a superstar. There's a lot going on. He also is connecting with her in like a deep way. And you know, I just wish Rachel and Frank ended up together, goddammit. Like y'all didn't even give it a month. Maybe that's just me being toxic. I'll give anyone a shot. Not currently, though. Off the market. Sorry. And that's all I have for you today on The Bodyguard. Oh, wait! No! I'm a big fat freaking little liar. I have 2 more funny little facts for you about this movie. The first funny little fact is that Kevin Costner was getting made fun of for his haircut in this movie. That confused me because it's such a basic flat to the skull haircut, but I need to remember that this is hot off the heels of the 80s, and in all the press tour videos, Costner has like this full mullet type situation thing going on, but he arrived on set with this quote-unquote silly new hair, but it fit the character really well. And I think that the hair that he had in the movie is the hairstyle Costner has now. Ha! Nerd! Where's your mullet, nerd? Anyway, and the second little fact that I have for you is the ending. There's a little fun fact about the ending, my darlings. So you know how Rachel stops her private plane. She runs out to Frank and they have this Casablanca smooch, right? Well, during this shot, the camera is spinning around the couple, right? Very fast and very tight. So they set up a camera on a dolly, like on a track. Not Dolly Parton. Could you imagine Dolly Parton having a camera person on her back and she's just like running in a circle around Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner? Anyway, so they set a camera up on a dolly track thing that had a circular track, and they put Costner and Houston right in the middle of that circle. So as this shot is going and the camera is spinning around pretty fast, the camera operator actually fell off the rig and he ran to catch up with it and got back on it. And that is the shot in the movie. Good job, dude. Movie magic. And while you're watching it, you can kind of see they start to fade out when the camera gets all shaky. I think the camera makes a couple rounds and it's really nice and smooth. And then all of a sudden it just like starts to shake and jiggle a little bit and then it fades out. And I'm like, that must have been when he fell off. But I love that. I love The Bodyguard. I love love. I love friendship. And I think that this was the perfect movie to end on for this category. Oh, you want to come say bye? Okay, say bye. Thank you. All right, and that does it for us today. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I hope I told you something that you didn't know, at least like one thing. But if you didn't, that was all new to me. So next week, I will actually be taking a little bit of a break. That's right, I'm going to be going up to Vermont this weekend, visiting some family, and also there's 5 Mondays in September. And I'm doing 4 movies a month, so enjoy your 5th Monday. I might stop in, say hello, just to talk to you and say hi. But when it comes to October, I'm coming back, y'all. I'm coming back for you. Just like Kevin Costner came back for the Bodyguard script, I'm coming back for you in October. We're gonna be tackling our Halloween category, which is Halloween. Super creative. But the first movie of October is going to be Gremlins, and I'm so excited to talk about that one with you babies, and it was such a fun first watch. All right, that's it for me. Take care of yourself. Drink water and also drink some orange juice too. Why not? Bye.